Had something to say to your victim, what would you say?
I would say that I'm sorry for what I've done.
You do understand that you can't give back what you took, right, as far as innocence?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for the record, you had some pretty rough times in 2016 and 2019 while you were incarcerated. I reviewed your disciplinary record. You had 821 write-ups during that time.
Yes, ma'am.
You might recognize him, and that's because we covered his 2021 hearing. Now, it has 146,000 views, so I'm not going to play the full hearing for you. I'll put the link in the description, and I'll play the end of the hearing before we jump into this new one. With that, let's go.
Mr. Carter, is there anything that you'd like to say to the board before the board votes?
Well, I would like to say, when I first got arrested, I felt disappointed in myself, but I realized the step that I had to take in order to stop feeling disappointed was to own up to my actions and seek forgiveness. But since I've been forgiven, I also look at me being in jail as a time for me to change my life around. Build a relationship with God, get through the Steve Parole program, leave it all. I don't get good time. I just want some help. And I like when I was free, I never had a chance to go see a therapist or anything because I was too busy, trying to work and pay my probation officer and off and stuff. But I also would like to say that regardless of the situation that you guys make, that I'm glad to just even have a chance to be in front of y'all to, express myself. So I just leave it up to God, and I ask God to, sustain my steps like He said He would in the Bible.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carter. Well said. Panel ready to vote?
Yes, I'm ready.
Ms. Wise?
All right. I'm glad that I got to meet you today. I believe you're gonna be all right. I really believe you're gonna be all right. But for me today, my vote is denied because I want you to complete the sex offender treatment program. You were just revoked in April 22. That's just insufficient time served on that revocation for me. And you have a moderate risk and you have law enforcement opposition. But best wishes to you now.
Thank you.
Reapply when you're eligible.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jackson.
Okay, Mr. Part of my vote would be grant conditionally on completion of the sex offender treatment program, since there is a possibility that you can complete that program in 9 months. And you demonstrated to me that you matured a lot, that you recognize your own responsibility, and that was important for me. And you recognize your need to make better choices. And I think you are on the right path. And so my vote is a conditional grant upon completion of sex offender treatment.
Mr. Carter, you have one vote to deny, one vote to grant, but I believe both of them are saying basically the same thing. You need to complete this sex offender treatment. You need a little help, a little more time to do what you need to do. I likewise would grant conditionally if you're completing the sex offender treatment program. I believe since your case is a sex offender, you need all 3 votes. So your parole today has been denied, but we all agree that you need to continue that sex offender treatment program. And once you complete that program, reapply again, and it's probably likely you'll be granted on that occasion. So good luck to us. I want to thank all the staff there at Bossier for your help today. We'll be adjourned at 10:35.
All right, thank you.
Now we're going to jump forward from 2021, the hearing that we just saw, up to May 2024, and it's going to be a new parole board. Do you think they're going to grant? Frankly, I was surprised that Miss Wise was the one that broke up the unanimous vote needed to give him a parole on condition of completing his programs. Again, I'll put a link to that full hearing in the description if you want to check it out before watching this hearing. With that, let's go.
Okay.
You're 27 years old, you're a first felony offender. Your offense was forcible rape. You had 10 years hard labor, all but 5 years suspended, 3 years probation. I think this was revoked in 22. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct? When your probation was revoked? Okay. And you have a parole eligibility date, which just passed, is 6/29/23. And you have a full term date of next year. So you, December 28th, 25, you would get out regardless. Do you understand everything I've said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give it to Ms. Stapleton. Ms. Stapleton, would you ask him any questions?
Yes, sir. I was noticing, on your, report, do you have an approved employment and residence plan by your probation and parole officer?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
My job plan is JT's Palliard.
What is it? on-
It's called JT's Palliard Arthur's Test Pellets on Bellevue.
Okay. Bellevue. And your parole, sir, probation officer knows about this and has approved it? Or you just know?
I sent the letter off, but I wasn't verified, was it, valid or not?
Okay, all right. Well, it probably just needs to be updated. Okay, so your residence plan.
Yes, ma'am. I also, have a residence plan. 437.
Oh, okay. Now let me ask you something. Are you aware of the cost that you're going to incur whenever you get out? I was just looking at the letter, okay? The very first month, you're gonna owe $533, and that's on the low end for flyers and newspaper articles and different fees and to attend classes. And then after that, you're gonna have a recurring bill of $143. So if you weren't to maintain employment, that would mess you up. So you're sure about the job
Yes, ma'am.
and you know about the fees.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. You had a revocation and it looked like if you'd have just stayed the course within 6 months, you would have been on for probation. What happened there? When you had your revocation?
I was doing bad at times, and I really didn't have the support that I needed. And
Failure to re-
I really didn't like the circumstances of the house that I was living in, so I was trying to avoid that. And on the verge of buying me a new apartment, I really wasn't staying at the address that I was,
uh-huh.
circumstances I was living in.
Um, Do you plan on having any contact with your victim when you get out?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay, and if you had something to say to your victim, what would you say?
I would say that I'm sorry for what I've done.
You do understand that you can't give back what you took, right, as far as innocence?
Yes, ma'am.
Sex offender classes? I'm sorry, I didn't. I'm sure you had them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that's the end of my questions.
Well, what exactly was going on, Mr. Carter, in your life at that time?
Well, at that time, by me having that charge, I felt like my family kind of pushed away from me, so I was like kind of struggling on my own, and it was hard for me to kind of, get transportation for the job that I did have, and it was keeping me away from where I was supposed to be because I really didn't have the money to get back to that location that I was in. But right before I got revoked, I had a job, which is JT's Palliard, that's closer to my house that I can really just walk to.
I just want to note for the record that the judge is opposed. Charles Jacobs, District Attorney, Marvin Schuler is opposed. Sheriff Julian Whittington is opposed. And Chief Daniel Hagan of the Police Department is opposed. Unopposed is your mother, and she'll be speaking later. Did we get a victim impact statement?
Just. Just a moment.
Okay, didn't get no victim impact. Okay, I have no further questions. Mr. Ledoux?
I have no questions. I think everything was covered. I do note that you did complete the 12-month Steve Will program. I think that's where you're located now, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for the record, you had some pretty rough times in 2016 and 2019 while you were incarcerated. I reviewed your disciplinary record. You had 821 write-ups during that time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, we'll hear now from, Perlinda James, your mother.
Hello.
Okay, Ms. James, tell us what you want us to know about your son.
Well, I just wanted to say, because I was hearing all the people who were opposed to him getting out. So I just want to say that we forgiven him and we still forgiving him, and I think he's doing better. He's matured a lot, over the years, and I'm just wishing and hoping he gets out and he does, continues to do better and get on the right track and stay on the right track.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Carter, is there anything you would like to tell the panel before we vote?
Yes, I would like to say, I do understand that I have a past and I'm not proud of my past. But, the Steve Hall program actually taught me to not live in denial anymore and own up to what I've done. And in these 2 years that I have been incarcerated, I do realize I did have a mental problem that I've been working on since I've been here. And, I can't change the past, but I can, create a better future for myself. I asked God to forgive me. He forgave me, my victim forgave me. I just ask that you all forgive me and give me a chance to start a new life as a better person, because I have bettered myself and I just need another chance.
All right, I guess the panel is ready to vote. Okay, Ms. Stapleton?
I recommend denial based upon law enforcement opposition and the nature of the crime.
Mr. Carter, you have a moderate risk assessment, according to our tool. You've had the failed revocation, failed probation. I think at this time, I'm going to deny your request for parole. Thank you.
And I concur with the recommendations of my counterparts due to strong law enforcement opposition and past supervision history. My vote is to deny. Good luck to you, sir. You get out next year. Okay, that concludes our business at Bossier. Thank y'all for accommodating.
Again, I want to point out the hypocrisy of the DA. They leave a statement as to why they're opposed. So let me ask, why are you opposed if you initially gave him probation? That's what they gave this man who sexually assaulted his relative. They don't say what the level of his relative was, but he was 17 and she was 7. And this wasn't normal carnage knowledge of a juvenile. This was sexual assault of a 7-year-old girl. A relative. It could have been his cousin. It could have been his niece. It could have been his sister. We don't know. They don't say. They gave him probation. How is that possible? It makes no sense. Then he violates his probation with 3 months left, if I remember correctly. Is it 6 months or 3 months? I think it was. Either way, it was just a little bit of more time. All he had to do is follow the rules, and he didn't. And then he's locked up. And while he's locked up, he has what was the 821 write-ups. Now 21 write-ups, 21 is a sex offense write-up. Now it has 21A, B, C, D, E, F. We don't know the class of it. Like the most common write-ups that we see are I think it's the 21 C's, which is just offender on offender consensual, right? But I'll tell you, 8 write-ups in that short period of time, that's a lot. We don't see that, that many write-ups, even for inmates that have been locked up for years and years and years. So at least he didn't have a low risk score, right? Probably because he violated probation and because of those write-ups. It's you just can't get over the fact that this is a little girl. You see the family that comes in and says, "Oh yeah, the victim forgave her. Her mom, no opposition whatsoever." Just think about that little girl. The board flat out denied him. And again, it's interesting to go back to Mrs. Wise. And I said 2021 hearing, I was wrong. It was I know they said he got denied probation 2023, but that can't be accurate either. But I think it was 2022 hearing. So, but to think that if Miss Wise had not declined his automatic approval upon completing the sex offense programs, he would have just been automatically paroled. And this new board didn't have any of it. Now, I would have liked the board to have said something on behalf of they did. They said, what you took from her, she'll never get back. And I guess there's only so much you can do. But just to think about this little baby girl it's just, and then the DA gives probation, and then they're two-faced about it because they leave a statement now. Now, is it possible it's a different DA? Maybe, if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But frankly, I'm tired with giving the benefit of the doubt. I haven't been given reason to give benefit of the doubt to these DAs, that it's a new DA versus the old one just trying to save face. But there you have it. There you have it. He's getting out anyways in a year. I don't know if there's anything that you've seen that would make you feel comfortable. They didn't talk about the crime. They didn't ask him what he was thinking. They didn't, we don't have any of that insight, what he was thinking. I don't know why they just didn't do that. And he has all those 21 write-ups, which straight up, it's concerning. And he didn't have the self-control or the discipline while he was on probation in his best interest. It was his best interest. He would have been done with everything. And he didn't have the maturity to, to just like follow the rules. Instead, he spent now all this time in prison. And how can you trust anyone that has missing those control, valves to not go out and create another victim? What's the answer? Do you keep them locked up longer? I don't know. You tell me. But there you have it. And thank you, Richard, for providing the info. With that, I'll let you go.